Welcome back to the Egg Attack Podcast. As always, I'm your host, the Russ under Captain America shield, Jay, and joined as always is my co-host, the unreachable Wedgie in Iron Man suit, Z. How are we doing today, Z?
Oh, pretty good.
That was one you wrote,
Yeah,
that opener.
It was pretty good.
It's a pretty good one. I liked it.
I'll say so myself. It was gut-wrenchingly hilarious.
Sure,
I
whatever.
actually had to mute my mic because of how uproariously I was laughing just now.
You don't know how to mute your mic. How would you mute your mic right now? I was sitting in the room. No. Really break it down for me.
No, I did.
You're looking at the mixer. You don't know how the mixer works. Don't fuck it.
They're just little slides. You'd slide it all the way down and suddenly you're muted. I'm almost certain of it.
Yeah, almost.
See, I'm doing it right now. Oh my god.
Gone forever.
That's me just muting myself.
He died, listeners. Now it's just me, Jay.
Alright, so we got episode 2 of What If? Marvel's What If.
What if T'Challa was Star-Lord?
What
Weird
if
one.
T'Challa... What was it? What if T'Challa was a Star-Lord?
Yeah.
Weird title.
A weird title.
It seems like a joke title that you would do, like just off the cuff, be like, okay, so the one with T'Challa, it's gonna be what if T'Challa was a Star-Lord?
A Star-Lord.
Well, because it seems like it should just be T'Challa. What if T'Challa was Star-Lord?
Yeah, himself, just straight up.
Why is he a Star-Lord? Yeah, whatever.
I thought it was a weird episode.
I kind of agree, but I also think that is a good thing. I totally agree that it was weird, but I think it's better that it's a little weird than it be like last week,
Where
which
it was kind of samey.
yeah, way too down the middle. And I saw, we talked about on the show that we were still pretty positive. I didn't really have any hate for that last episode. But a lot of people online were really kind of disappointed because they were just like, I feel like we just watched the first Avenger, which I think is a valid criticism of it.
We kind of did.
But like
essence.
we said last week, it's like I think that's okay as the first episode in this series to establish the format and kind of introduce you to the scenario. It's like a relatively samey kind of one.
Yeah.
And we said hopefully going forward they would be different. And this one was.
Out of the gate, very different.
Yeah. And it was real weird. And I think that's okay because I feel like that's what If as a series should be. That's what the comic is too. Like, I don't know if you've read much or any really like What If.
I don't think I've read
books.
any What If. I've heard the like,
But
main
sometimes
stage.
they are just bizarre. Where you're reading them, you're like, this is weird. Like, there's a reason they did it the one kind of way, probably, and this is just weird. And I think it's just an excuse for writers to just
do whatever they want.
yeah,
Not have to
really
worry
go
about
crazy.
continuity
Exactly.
or anything like that.
And so I think this is very much in the spirit of What If as a comic is, and probably what the series should be.
Yeah, I agree. But my I guess gripe with it is that they made T'Challa like way better than Peter Quill.
Yeah.
Almost to like an insane degree. Like he convinced Thanos he was wrong.
Yeah.
That was a bit weird. I mean, it was kind of funny when they're like, when he still's like, no, but my idea would work though. Like it probably work, and they're like,
Yeah.
that's just genocide, my man. Which is funny.
The thing about it is, like, right, is that with this particular scenario, now I don't know how they landed on like that they would use T'Challa.
I think it makes sense because of the asteroid. They kind of explain.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the way they write it in. I'm just saying, like, I don't know why. It could have been almost any other character, like, if they were Star-Lord kind of deal, right?
Yeah.
Because the premise is just that they're abducted from Earth as a child. That could technically happen to just about
Any of
anyone,
them.
if they wanted to make it so.
Yeah. Because they're all kind of the same age if they're not.
Right, more or less.
Right.
So, like, for it to go this way isn't more or less weird than any other one.
No, not really.
Like, you can't just have him be Star-Lord in, like, a Black Panther suit, right?
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't do that. That'd be just weird. He had
Right.
the necklace though, which I
So,
thought
like,
was nice.
the way you have to differentiate him, if you're going to decide, well, we want to use T'Challa as a Star-Lord or Star-Lord, whatever,
Yeah.
the way you have to differentiate it is purely in his character, right?
Right.
The way he acts. So I kind of get it. Well, we can't just make him act exactly like Peter Quill, but then just have a Black Panther costume instead of a Star-Lord. Like, that's not really, that's not anything.
Yeah, that's not really a story.
Yeah. So I do get, but I kind of agree. They go crazy with it. But again, I think that's kind of the spirit of What If, because it's like, it's not even believable, right?
Right, yeah.
If this was a normal story, we'd be here like, what the hell? But because it's just a one-off,
35-minute
yeah,
animated bullshit thing.
animated, alternative story, I think it works.
I thought they went a little bit much with the scene on Yondor. What's the planet with the Power Stone? I can't remember its name. It's like Y something, I think.
The planet with the Power Stone?
The
Xandar?
Xandar, or no?
That's not where they were, though.
No. In the beginning, when the temple on it.
I do not know that planet. I'm not going to be able to go with it.
All right.
I see what you. I thought
Yeah.
you're right. Where they discover it, yeah.
Yeah, and
I-
they see the guy, and he's like, oh, it's Star-Lord, which is like, oh, okay, this is kind of funny. It's like the reverse of Peter Quill's encounter, because he didn't know who he was, and now he does. That makes sense. But then they really ham it up, and I'm like, why is it like this? Why is he like actually roasted? Because nobody would know or care. Because actually, I think we literally talked about this last week. Peter Quill in the comics, like his father is like a king that's recognized by like the universe. Wakanda on Earth isn't. Like, nobody really knows about Earth. That's the whole point. Is that it's kind of backwater space.
Which thing, the reason he recognized him, I think, is just purely because of his exploits. Yeah.
But why?
Although I will say, like, yeah, the fact that like he took the sort of name. So literally, right? Yeah, where he kept referring to him as his like my lord,
and like Neil
treating him like he was some kind of royalty. That is kind of weird.
And he was like, "Oh, can we spar?" And
because it makes you wonder why T'Challa would have that name.
Yeah.
Because the whole joke is that in the MCU version, at least, right, of Peter Quill, is that he wants people to call him that, but no one does, because he's clearly kind of like vain and like he's got a bit of an ego.
Kind
right?
of a bit of because he's dead.
Yeah. That was unintentional.
That was a bit of a fake laugh there at the end.
Well, that is real enough. It's as real as you're gonna get. But whereas in the comic, it is kind of bestowed upon him, and I think maybe that's what it maybe is that everyone else has bestowed that upon him.
Right.
Because, yeah, the version of him that we get in this, it wouldn't make sense for him to be like, hey, call me Star-Lord.
And you know, like, also, Yondu brings up a point. He's like, oh, we would just be like that, like a folk hero you told us about. But, like, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities for Peter Quill to know who Robin Hood was.
Yeah,
because Robin Hood is a centuries-old story. Like, that's not like a thing that T'Challa would know over Peter Quill.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I can't even lie. It's not even just that T'Challa is so much better than him, right? But it's kind of like, yeah, it makes, in retrospect, it makes Peter Quill look like a real dick. Because it's like, man, why didn't he do this? If you're saying that he could have just done this all along, it does kind of make Peter Quill look like a dick for not, like, why didn't he reform the Ravagers?
But, like, how would he? He's a child. Like, why would they listen to him? It's like, oh, you're the heart. But, like, Peter Quill, like, they all liked Quill.
Again, I think it only works because this is kind of like an out there, less realistic sort of telling. Because, yeah, and I think that's just how you have to approach it. I agree. I think the most ridiculous part is the Thanos thing. That he was able to just talk to Thanos. Because I don't think real MCU Thanos has... I don't think that's a thing you could do. Because
the whole point is that he believes that he's right. And that everyone else doesn't understand.
I also think he's just insane.
Yeah, that is also a big point. He is the Mad Titan.
Yeah, especially once you get to end it. Because there was so many... there was all the jokes and the memes and stuff. And the hashtag Thanos did nothing wrong. Because in Infinity War... And it's been said before, right? That the Russos or the writers or all the above, whatever... That Infinity War is like the hero's journey, but for Thanos.
Right, yeah. I mean, even not even just them. Every essayist on YouTube, every video essayist on YouTube has said the same thing.
And so, like, he's the main character of that. And so, even in that movie, he's not portrayed, like, obviously without flaw. He's still the villain who's beating up the heroes, and you don't want him to win necessarily. That is the most charitable light we ever see him in. Yeah. Whereas once we get to Endgame, he is just a villain. Because it's also a slightly different version of Thanos.
Without the sacrifice and all that.
The point is, I think, is that we're meant to understand that Thanos is just wrong and also is just crazy. He doesn't necessarily even believe the things he says. Yeah. Or he thinks he believes them, but like he really just wants to do it because he's crazy and enjoys it.
Hell-bent on destruction.
Yeah. This idea that you could just convince him, I don't think that's grounded in the actual character.
And plus he even says, like, I think mine is still merit. So he still thinks he's right.
Yeah.
Which was funny when like at the end when they get to we didn't say spoilers, did we?
I mean,
yeah, whatever.
Gotta be right.
At this point, who cares? When they get to Wakanda again and they're having that party.
Yeah.
And the one maybe it's supposed to be Okoye, but one of the guard warriors who are like his guard.
The Dora Milaje.
Thank you. I can remember their name. Was like, that just sounds like genocide. He's like, no, but it's random. That means it's good, Mm-mm. Also, Nebula's got hair. Genocide. It's like long blonde hair.
Yeah. She's got hair in the comics.
Does she?
That's like a, I'm bringing it up here while we're talking. I think that's a deliberate little, like, nod. Because I think initially she had hair in the comics. She's one of those characters who, like, has kind of waxed and waned in...
popularity?
Popularity and relevance and stuff. Although, I think in the comics, she has a significant role in the Infinity Gauntlet. just like that actual storyline.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I do know that. She wields it at one point.
Yeah. Which is like, yeah, she like maybe brings Thanos back with it.
No, I don't think she does.
I don't know. She does some shenanigans, yeah, for sure.
But I know you don't have to look her up because I remember I have Infinity War. I have the Infinity War comic. I know what she looks like.
Oh, do you?
Or just keep looking her up and now listen.
Well,
to me.
I want to see now for myself, but fine.
Yeah.
She's got hair. She doesn't have like
It's like black.
bleach blonde hair, but she's got hair.
Yeah, see, she gets it right there in that picture.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, here's, they obviously can't see this, but like nowadays she just looks like she does in the comics or in the movies rather. Sorry, she's one of those characters like I was saying because she waxed and wanes in popularity. They even do this with the big characters on occasion. Is that, you know, and nowadays, for better or worse, the movies are the actual like
our king.
Yeah, for this material, and so the movies often will influence the comics more than necessarily the other way around sometimes.
Right, for better
Like,
or worse.
Yeah, for better or worse. So she just is one of those characters who nowadays looks like, in the comics, she just looks like the MCU version. But yeah, that was fun. She was an interesting character.
Thought Howard the Duck was funny. I was like, holy shit, they're doing Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
Which also kind of ties into Star Wars, which is be funny because we're also talking about Star Wars this week. So
once again, they had the voice cast really is spectacular. Although once again, I feel
they
like
didn't get the collector again. The guy, what's his face? They didn't get him.
Del Toro.
They didn't. He's not.
That wasn't actually him.
No, it didn't sound like him.
Well, that guy did good enough. Wait, it didn't sound like him.
It didn't sound like Benicio del Toro. I knew it wasn't him.
Are you?
I knew.
Certain or
I'm from at least if my ears are wrong.
Oh goodness.
Just have to check.
I thought it was him, but if otherwise he was close enough that I didn't notice.
I didn't think he was that close. I gotta be honest.
But okay, they definitely got Josh Brolin though, right?
Yeah, it's definitely Josh Brolin.
Karen Gillan, obviously.
I couldn't tell if it was Karen Gillan or not because I went back and forth.
Shit.
And I was like, "Is it her?
All right,
is it
it's
not
got to
her?"
be Michael Rooker.
Yes, I
I'm
definitely think it's
certain
him.
it's him.
And it's definitely Chadwick Boseman
And
because this is his
I
last.
think it's Sean Gunn.
I think it is also Sean Gunn as well.
See, this is not his last one. I've seen a lot of things saying that. They said he's going to be in several of the upcoming episodes.
Oh, okay.
As different versions. Obviously, not necessarily as the focus,
Mhm.
but he will be appearing. So
That's
that's
good.
something. Yeah, because I saw a lot of people saying that, like, oh, this is his last one. I mean, it's definitely going to be his most significant role in any of these episodes, but he will be popping up a couple times, which is nice. Because I saw they said that they wrote this episode for him, or like kind of, I don't know how this kind of process goes, but they came up with it and they're like, hey, you interested? And he was like, yeah, for sure. And then he did it, and then he had such a good time apparently with it that they're like, well, we'll just put him in a couple more if he'll do it, and he did.
That's good.
Yeah, I think it's crazy how the cast are getting for this. I guess maybe it's because probably a lot of these guys really are in one-off episodes, and it probably literally could take you about
4 hours to do it all.
I was gonna say even less than that. Probably no joke, like less than an hour. I mean, if you add up all these guys' dialogue, just purely their dialogue, how much could it be?
Not very much. I mean, it's only a half an hour episode.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, Michael Rooker probably could have been in and out in like an hour, for all we know. So, and I think that's probably why, again, like we said last week, not to be a dick or anything, but sometimes the voice acting is not like great.
No, it's
again,
not. Not really.
They're not voice actors.
They're just regular actors.
Yeah, it's a different skill. That's all. But again, for some of these characters, it is really nice to be like, man, that's the same guy. No, that was Benicio del Toro.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Did not
Josh
sound
Brolin,
like him.
Benicio del Toro, Karen Gillian, Digimon Hansu,
Plus
Sean Gunn. Oh, come on. It's a man's name. Seth Green was Howard the Duck.
No, was it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, you didn't tell that one? That one definitely stood out to me. Because he is a voice actor, but also he...
I don't know Seth Green's voice or as much
Sure
as his
you
work.
do. He's
What is he
Chris in Family Guy. He's in
Oh.
Robot Chicken.
Oh,
He's the alien in American Dad, I believe.
is he?
I'm pretty sure.
I don't watch American.
Or maybe
My
not.
brother likes American
think
Dad.
he's
I don't
American.
watch American
All right,
Dad.
whatever. It's not relevant. And this is Denai Guerrera. So then...
Bless you.
Stop.
No, I'll
So
never
that-
stop.
That was Okoye he was talking to then.
Okay.
She's Okoye.
There you go.
So yeah. Anything else? I don't know. The actual action of it was kind of whatever. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Or not the action. Well, I shouldn't say that. The action was good for the most part. I like when the Collector was using all the different weapons on him. I guess more just like the general plot, like past like the whole Star-Lord. Once we did all the establishing of like who T'Challa is as Star-Lord and his whole crew and all, the actual like heist that makes up the majority of the episode, I thought was just whatever.
Yeah, it wasn't super interesting to me. I also didn't like how that guy kept, though, like, one guy from the beginning was like, oh, great plan. You're like, that's a classic Star-Lord. I'm like, shut up. Like, he's getting annoying.
Horvath?
Yeah.
I agree. It's weird because that's not. I mean, I don't know why. I guess it's whatever. Again, it makes for a really interesting juxtaposition to have him be the one. It's funny because he's the same one in the real movie who's like, who?
Who are you?
What are you?
And he's
So
real
it makes sense.
stoic.
But again, yeah, he's very stoic in everything else we've seen him in.
But
Which
this-
is to say, Guardians and
Captain
Captain
Marvel.
So yeah, it's weird that they went with him, that they couldn't have found someone else to be like the fanboy, but he's fine. I liked that the Black Order was in it, actually. I'm not sure I totally buy that in this universe the Black Order are just like that doesn't make
For
that
hire?
doesn't- Yeah, that doesn't like check out to me again. It's one of those things where like I
'Cause-
feel like they just need. They're like, well, he needs thugs. They may as well be the Black Order.
Because it's connected to Thanos.
I just think like it's spacey, and it's someone known, right? But yeah, I don't really buy it because it's like, why would the Black Order be together
Without
if not
Thanos.
for Thanos? And it's like, did they? Because I don't. Unless I missed something, is it ever mentioned? Like, are they ever like, hey, it's you, Thanos?
No.
Because it seems like they just don't even really like.
They don't acknowledge
put
the
them
fact that
together.
it's
so
him.
it's like, yeah. Did he not even assemble them in this universe? Did they just come together by chance, or did he assemble them and then like when he decided to be good, they just were like, nah, we'll just be dicks still, and then they ended up there. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But whatever. It was good to see them. I guess they
Yeah.
did cool. I like the part where they were beating the shit out of Thanos.
yeah,
That
that's
was
good.
pretty cool. Because I was like, man, they're just really laying into him, and they just kept going for a while, and he just kept taking abuse. That was a pretty interesting like action scene. I was like, man, they're kicking the shit
Then
out
they
of it.
kill that one guy with magic like trees.
Mm-hmm.
Feed him seeds and a tree grows through his body. It's kind of brutal.
Ebony Maw did his like glass magic, which always freaks me out.
Yeah,
Because he did it in Infinity War 2, where he's like got weird glass spikes and stuff, and I don't
poking
like
you?
it. And I was like, oh my god, is he gonna spoke? He didn't. I ended up poking him. He just used it to like chain him up, but still, I was like, I don't like that guy. He's real creepy.
He doesn't have a nose. Hardly any nose to speak of on that man.
I don't know. I did think it was like I thought it was kind of fun the way they ended it.
Really, when he gets back home and stuff.
But then like the very end with just like Peter Quill and Ego.
Oh, yeah, Ego shows up and he's like, "This could be the end of the world."
Yeah,
but we don't
which
need
makes sense because I kind of have to. You got to agree, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Is that without
the Guardians around?
yeah, without being in the Guardians and without having any worldly knowledge or whatever spacely knowledge or whatever? I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a bit much that he was literally just like a fast food employee. I was like, oh, they couldn't give my man anything better. But
Also, he was listening to a Walkman. I'm like, that's weird. I think that's only to identify him as
I
Peter
agree.
Quill, because like the only reason he uses the Walkman is because it's from Earth, and he wants to remember Earth.
But even then, it never made sense. But whatever. Yeah. Well, because I guess in the movies, it's like, well, he wants it because it's from Earth, but he also doesn't want to go to Earth to get
A new
a
thing.
new thing because he doesn't like Earth because that's where his mom died and all, right?
Yeah.
But even still, especially because the way space works in the MCU, it seems like they just have Earth stuff sometimes. I guess that's how he gets the Zoom. Or the Zune.
Yeah, I think it's a
Whatever,
Zune.
though. Yeah, you're kind of right. I bet that is just kind of to identify him because there's no reason he shouldn't just have an iPod or
Or
just
like-
his cell phone.
Just AirPods.
Because it's the modern day, presumably.
Yeah.
But yeah, because again, without the support of the Guardians or like any knowledge of that, I don't. He probably would just become. He probably should do exactly what Ego wanted the whole time, and then Ego would just take over the world, I guess.
Yeah,
Which would
destroy
suck.
it. It's like everyone else.
Although maybe perfect T'Challa Star-Lord would fix it.
Like, yeah, because he's like, oh, he's weird. I felt a bit. It was a bit much that he was just like perfect.
Yeah, again, I don't know. I guess you got to separate it somehow, but like, I don't know. To me, has that ever been T'Challa's thing? Like, that's just not what. That's not. I don't know. I don't want to be dick or anything, because good on him. And obviously,
Rest in peace, my man.
rest in power, Chadwick Boseman. But like, maybe if this was like, I don't know, like Captain America or something, right? His whole thing is basically that he's perfect. Maybe that would make sense to me. Where it's like, well, yeah, if he was Captain America, it doesn't really. I mean, it would be harder to imagine. But it's like, yeah, if he was the star, maybe he would just be the perfect guy and he'd just make everyone better. But it's like, that's not really T'Challa's main thing, is it?
Yeah.
Is being
Perfect.
a real nice guy who is able to avoid conflict at all costs and everything, and like totally mitigates it. I don't know.
Because
that's
Civil
just not
War,
his
his
thing.
first thing is he just goes
Yeah.
to fight Bucky.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess he does grow from it and like change.
Yeah.
That's his arc in Civil War, but like he's a kid. Like he's
Yeah,
a
I don't
kid
know.
who grows up with like Ravengers who are not like good people.
Yeah, exactly.
So it'd be more likely for him to turn out like Peter Quill than not. Because
Yeah, I don't
Peter
know.
Quill's the way he is because he was raised by those people.
But again, it's whatever. It's fine. It's cool.
Not, it's not the end of the world.
I like it. I do like his outfit, I will say.
Oh, it's cool, yeah, for sure.
Having the purple jacket's fun. Do you think they're gonna follow up on that at all with the Ego maybe and all? Because I don't think they are in the
No.
same way that
I don't think they are at all.
I don't think they're gonna follow up on last week at all in any meaningful way. Although except for the fact that we know that, or it's been rumored, we don't know, but they say Haley Atwell's gonna be in it.
Now,
That's
from that, because she's in Doctor Strange, or been rumored to be, people have been saying that the tentacle monster that they fight
Mm-hmm.
is the Doctor Strange villain, like Shigar
Yeah.
Noth or whatever, who's like just Starro, pretty much, just like Marvel Starro. So that might be why she's kind of connected. That might come up. So I think it's believed that he's going to be the villain.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Because he can wrap through reality, but who knows? It's kind of going back. Some people thought it was Nightmare, or
I thought, and I don't. Maybe I'd have to go back and even see what they look like. My first thought when I saw it in the episode was that it was the creature from the beginning of Guardians 2,
I think it was pink though.
which was,
The thing from Guardians 2.
and that was not.
That was green.
Whatever. That was all I had though. Like I said, I
Swing and a
probably
miss.
would have to go look, but
Yeah.
that was my first thought. I was just like, well, what's the space monster thing that we've seen with tentacles in the MCU? Because I assumed it was a reference somehow. I don't know. That what's he called?
Shagad Noth or something.
Whatever that guy is. My understanding though is that he's more. I don't know. There's more to him than just flailing tentacles. Like I think he's intelligent, right?
No, he definitely is because there's a comic where he fights Nightmare, Mephisto, and Dormammu to see who can take over Earth
Yeah.
first. I mean, he
So,
loses, but he's smart enough to
I've seen people theorize that, but then I was just like, I don't know. To me, he didn't really act like that character
he
does.
kind of
so-
acted mindlessly.
Yeah, whatever. I don't think. Well, I don't know. This episode was rumored or said or whatever. They revealed it before it came out. So I think maybe the next episode it's been said what it is going to be, but so there. I don't know. I'm saying I haven't looked, so I don't know what next week will be.
I think next week is Loki. I think it's if Loki invades Earth properly.
Oh yeah.
I think so.
Oh, okay.
I believe so.
Oh well, then we'll talk about that
Next time. One thing I do want to talk about, because I've seen some recent news that in the next Black Panther movie, that's where Ironheart will make her first appearance before
Oh,
her
yeah?
show.
Oh.
It's just recently been I think it's been rumored or confirmed that she will appear in Black Panther before her show, and that will be her first MCU appearance.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah, it makes sense because she's a lot of tech stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's one of those things where I'm sitting here like, I'm just trying to think about how she would work in. It kind of reminds me of how Monica Rambeau was with WandaVision.
Right,
when-
yeah.
When that was first like rumored or said or whatever, and I was like, that doesn't really fit. Like that doesn't check out. Why would she end up? And I don't know. They handled it in a way that I was totally on board with. I was like, all right, cool. So I'm sure they know what they're doing, but like, yeah, Ironheart, that doesn't really vibe with Black Panther, especially the rest we know about this movie, which is that it's like Wakanda versus Atlantis war.
And with Namor and shit.
I don't see how that.
Apparently they've written a bunch of different scripts for this movie. I think the woman who plays the queen of Wakanda, or I guess T'Challa's mother, she said, yeah, there are like 6 different versions of the script, and I heard they're writing a 7th. Like, they've been writing this script, they've been doing a lot of rewrites.
Yeah, and that would make sense, obviously, because of what happened.
The tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman.
So
Probably through like, I mean, yeah.
although I have no way of knowing, but I feel like I could just be misremembering and like reconstructing this backwards. But I feel like the Atlantis stuff has been rumored since, like for a lot, like maybe before that even.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not like massively different. There are a lot of the story beats aren't totally over, like rewritten or anything. But
Yeah, I know people. I know for a while before his passing, people thought there was a rumor that Namor was going to be in it, or Doom was going to be in it. One of the two, and then it was like, oh, it's going to be Namor. And then he died. People were like, is it going to be Namor? And now now Namor is back on the like market. They're like, I think they've cast a guy, or
Atlanteans are back on the
Fish
menu,
is back
boys.
on the menu. The biggest dickhead in Marvel Comics is back on the menu, boys. He's
Yep.
very
kind of the
unpleasant
worst.
as a character.
Yeah.
Every time he's in, I'm like, God, I really don't like you anymore. You're kind of the worst.
Mhm. He beat the Nazis though, so you gotta give it.
He was just kind of a dickhead. He's trying to fuck Sue Storm all the time.
Yeah. Or Emma Frost.
I mean,
Whoever's closer.
can you blame the man?
Yeah. No, I can.
Yeah, he's no good.
He's also probably got a wife or something. He's probably got some gross fish wife.
He
Deal
can
with
he
that.
can fly because he has wings on his ankles.
No, I don't think they'll allow him to fly.
No, that's why he flies.
Yeah, but
It's like he was
Whatever.
written in the 40s. That's why he flies.
I know. I'm aware.
Well, then that's why he
He's
flies.
the first mutant. He's one of like 12 Marvel characters who are the first mutant.
Name them all. Name all 12.
I was exaggerating, but it's like
No.
well, I didn't mean literally 12. I was
No,
trying to convey
please.
that there's more.
No.
I was just trying to convey that there's more than one, which there should be one. But I was thinking like there's him. He's Marvel's first mutant. There's him. There's like Apocalypse, that's also his shtick, right? He's like
Right.
the oldest mutant. There's Selene, she's like the oldest mutant. Those are the only ones I can think of off the top of my head. The problem is there's just more than one. That was the only joke I was trying to make.
And
Thank
yet
you for coming right at me.
you gave a number.
And thank you for jumping right down my throat about that.
Good.
I really appreciate it. That
Hey.
clearly
That's what the show's for us to just antagonize each other forever. Hell's
But
other people.
I don't know how he's the old, because he's not even that old in the scheme of the MCU or the not the MCU, but the Marvel universe. I don't know. I mean, he's old enough to be in the 40s, so maybe he's like 1,000 for all I fucking know.
Who
But,
even cares? I know it's just me.
yeah, he's a dick. So it kind of makes sense that they're gonna, even though he is ostensibly a hero, I think it makes perfect sense for his first introduction to be as an antagonist. Before maybe he's like, all right, maybe I was a dick.
Maybe I'll
Yeah.
come back over.
He is often like hostile, if not openly antagonistic to other heroes. In the
Yeah,
MCU,
especially
so it
Reed
makes sense.
Richards and all those guys.
That Inhumans book that I like so much.
Yeah.
He's in that.
See, you mean the Inhumans, like
yeah,
Black Bolt?
because the Inhuman, what's their city, Adelon,
Yeah.
is in that comic. It is it's currently atop Atlantis.
A top. How so?
Yeah, so there's so Atlantis is underwater, right? But like the
Right.
tippy ruins of it stick out, and then Adelon's like floating.
Oh, so it floats above it.
Yeah, it's like, or maybe it is in the water, but it's like above it. And he's like, "This is my land."
I know it. At one point during Secret Wars, Black Panther and Black Bolt kill him. They trap him on a dying world and then just leave. Like,
He's a dick.
I'm glad they kill
He's
him,
he's in the Illuminati with those,
He is,
those
yeah.
fellows. All three of those guys.
along with some other fellows. And they
Some other
send
fellows.
Hulk
Alright.
to Sakaar.
I think we're kind of.
No, but people want to know about Namor. No, Zach, wait,
No,
don't seal me
Yeah.
away.
I think we've lost it a bit, so let's attack into the other thing we're going to talk about this week.
Right, the
Which-
Eternals trailer.
No.
Fuck.
Hold on.
Anyway,
Just a quick note about that. We may as well say that, now that you've done it. If anyone's champing at the bit for us to talk about it, if any of you.
we'll talk about it when we get
Probably
closer.
Yeah, probably when we get closer.
It comes out
Or-
November 5th, so the week before
Um,
November 5th, we'll talk about it.
I don't have any particular want to watch it because, like, I know I'm going to go see it, so.
That's true.
The only thing I would gain by watching it personally, I feel like it would show more of the movie to me, which I don't really need because I don't. Yeah, that's what trailers are for, right? It's
Yeah.
convincing people to go see it. I'm already gonna go see it, so it's fine.
I do want more of the Eternals because I know nothing about the Eternals, and it just makes me more interested in them.
No, that's fair.
Because I mean, I'm
That's
not going to not watch the movie. I would have watched it even if we didn't
Of
have the
course.
show.
Yeah,
But anything, I'm like, well, I need to know, because I didn't know literally anything about them.
that is fair. Whereas I've read some Eternal stuff, so like I don't know, and that is like a thing, right? That's like if you don't know anything, right? It's kind of impossible to be spoiled.
Yeah, because you're like, well,
Right.
what is this? What is even happening?
Because you can't make any connections and kind of
Like,
draw those lines.
Build
Whereas-
a plot for yourself.
Yeah.
But if you know a storyline, you're like,
Yeah.
well, it might be this, which means this, this, and this happens.
Exactly. So that's why my list. Although, I may as well say this. When we talked about this before we the show here, we decided. I do think it's an interesting thing, like spoiler culture nowadays,
Right.
is that I feel like people are much more sensitive about spoilers. And I guess I'm literally referring to myself right now as well, clearly, from what I just said. But like, back in the day, spoilers were like almost non-existent. Like I was saying, movie trailers back in the day, you go watch like old movie trailers from like the 70s and stuff. They're literally just recounting the whole plot and like you knew everyone who was in a movie going into it. Like that was not a thing. There was no like surprise cameos and shit like there is nowadays.
Right, yeah.
Like Robert Redford, in when he was in The Winter Soldier, I think he like basically just said that to someone, just nonchalantly beforehand, that he was the villain, which was obviously like a twist within the movie. Because I think he's from that generation
Where
like,
it didn't matter.
there was no twist as to who's the bad guy.
There's
If
no-
you're playing the bad guy, you're the bad guy.
Yeah,
Everyone knows.
there's no twist villains.
So, like, I feel like maybe, and again, like I said, I guess I'm probably part of this group as well, but people are a little oversensitive about spoilers because, like, yeah, classically, something where, like, you see something in a trailer and then you can, because of your knowledge of this particular source material, you can kind of puzzle together a plot for yourself. That isn't reasonably a spoiler, is it?
No, not really at all.
And also, it's like, I feel like some people's threshold for it is so low of like, well, I want to know almost nothing. I should know nothing. I shouldn't know who's in it or how they in it. Oh, gosh. Icarus is nice in this one? Well, I didn't need to know that going forward.
And the other one, he kills everyone.
Oh, this guy and this guy are going to get along? These guys, like, I feel like it's so low. they're gonna go to this place and there's gonna be an action scene here, because it's like, and I do kind of see it both ways, because there's definitely been movies where I've gotten real into them with the trailers. Like, I'm thinking of particularly Age of Ultron. I was like that for, where I just had an immense amount of hype for that, and I watched all the trailers like many, many times. And Star Wars: The Force Awakens was like that. And I can't lie, I feel like I did get to a point after, if you watch those trailers enough and you really do put in effort to, like, can I construct a plot from this? You really kind of can.
You just can do it, and it kind of
Like,
ruins
I
it
feel
for
like
yourself.
you can, and obviously it would be hard to know, obviously because we have the benefit of retrospect now, like we've seen the movies, or hindsight, whatever. But I feel like even so,
Both
if you
are
go back
accurate.
and look at all those trailers, you can probably be like, yeah, most of the sort of beats are in it where it's like, well, this beat takes place here, and this action scene takes place here, and
It's
this
the
one's probably after this, and you can, if
Cobble
you
it
watch
together.
enough trailers and stuff, depending on how the trailers are made, you can start to puzzle together. Although I think we're probably in a good spot now
yeah, I think so.
with trailers. Like I said, I haven't watched this one yet, but I'm sure it's not actually like that spoilery.
It really isn't.
I think like 2014-15 was maybe the height of like just showing a bunch of shit. Like, you know how when The Amazing Spider-Man came out,
Yeah, and that,
there was something like, I think 45-ish or maybe even more total minutes of footage were released prior to that movie coming out, between the trailer, as in like unique footage, right?
yeah.
Like, if you put it all together, individual scenes, between like clips, because that was the thing that, I don't know if they still do that. They probably do, but I just don't pursue it at all. But like, they will release minutes, a couple
They
minute
did that
clips.
with they've done that with Shang-Chi. I've seen a couple.
Oh,
I haven't
okay.
watched it,
Which is
but
just a clip. Like, it's not a trailer. It's just a
clip from the film.
clip from the movie. So like, if you added up all the clips and all like the trailers and stuff, it added up to literally being like 40-something minutes of the film,
Of
which is absurd.
how long? Like, that movie isn't that
I don't
long,
know.
right?
Yeah, probably like 2 hours and 10 or something. All right, so getting all that out of the way, let's actually attack into the other thing we wanted to talk about, which was Star Wars Clone Wars. The
Animated series, but not the one.
no, the
That you
2D
all know and
animated
love.
series by Gendry. I think it's Gendy Tartakovsky.
Yeah, he did Dexter's Lab in Primal.
He did, and
Have you watched Primal?
no, I've not.
It's
I've
very-
heard that's really good.
I
It's like a
I watched
miniseries,
it.
right?
Yeah, it's very good.
Also, Samurai Jack. That's the big one, I think.
Right.
People like. Yeah, it is Gendy Tartakovsky. So yeah, it's a 2D animated series from 2003 to 2005. So like right between episodes 2 and 3.
Right.
It was part of the whole like Clone Wars multimedia project, which was like a pretty cool thing at the time, because like nowadays we have in Star Wars we have one continuous canon since the Disney merger, right?
Right.
But back then they had that whole tier system where it was like the movies are G tier canon, or it was L tier. It was one of the two. It was like, I think it was George. I think it was G though, for George. Like, this is George tier canon, and then so they literally had a tier system where it was like, well, your thing's here, which means that you can overrule stuff below you, but
Nice fucking job, my man.
you can overrule anything below you, but anything above you can just overlap you, and there was a lot of
Confusion.
yeah, there was a lot of
Because that's just
overlapping
convoluted.
continuity. What would be the word? Like retcons and just things that are, what would be the word?
for what?
Conflicting, I guess.
Yeah.
Conflicting storylines where it's like, well, this character's in this thing and he dies here, but then
He shows
there's
up.
also this book where he dies 2 years later. How is he alive? Like, what? A lot of stuff
Well,
like
actually, that's in B tier for book.
Yeah.
Or
yeah, because that's in C tier canon, this does take precedence. Like, it's just ridiculous. And
Yeah.
so this Clone Wars multimedia project, though, this was one of the first times where all the creators involved did get together and decide on stuff like that, where they knew they wouldn't overlap each other. Because basically the problem back then was just, you were kind of on your own. They just kind of let you have free reign.
Be like, do whatever you want with these characters.
Which meant, unless you had already read everything, you wouldn't even know. I don't think a lot of times it was ever done maliciously.
Yeah.
It was more just, well, I'm going to write the story I want to write, and I don't think anyone's done this yet, or used this character, or done this type of scenario here, but I've also not read everything, and I'm not gonna, so I'm just gonna go with it. Whereas nowadays, when that happens, when the conflicts arise, the story group, which is literally a group of people who it's their job to handle it, tell you, well, you can't use this character because he's here right now, or this guy's dead, or we notice you use, sometimes they even like add in continuity of like, we notice this character you have here. What if we replaced him with a really similar character that already exists, and then it's a little extra continuity and stuff?
Yeah, there's less. That means there's less like similar people running around.
Yeah, and so the Clone Wars Multimedia Project was like books and comics and this show and I think a video game or two. And it just kind of was like the proto version of that. It was unfortunately almost entirely all wiped only a couple years later by
Revenge of the Sith.
No, by the Star Wars The Clone Wars
Oh.
show by George Lucas, because that was G tier. He just wiped it all.
He was like, I might as well get rid of it.
He just cannibalized what he wanted and threw away the rest.
There was some pretty good stuff in this one.
Yeah, it was a couple really interesting kind of years of storytelling. I don't know, the Clone Wars era, obviously because of the show, but even before that, like, it's just interesting looking. There's a lot of cool designs. I think the clone troopers look really cool sometimes.
I think in the show their guns look really cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff like that.
I like that scene. That scene that I think it's kind of a meme too, where that when they on the attack of Coruscant in spoilers also.
Yes, spoilers for this 15-year-old TV show.
Yeah, whatever.
It was no longer canon as of like 12 years ago. It's just about one of the furthest things from canon nowadays. It was hardly canon as it was coming out.
It's basically fanfic at this point.
Yeah.
But in any case, though, on the attack of Coruscant, when that one trooper in red is like...
That's Captain Fordo.
Okay.
Or Captain Fordo. He's over there. He's one of the Lego guys I have. You see him on the hand? He's red?
Right. So, listeners, what I'm looking at are 40-foot replicas of clone troopers.
No, they're just little
that
Lego men.
he's built out of... What is that? Monkey flesh?
No.
Oh, nope. Oh, yes, no, that's monkey flesh. I can smell it from here, listeners. Ooh, it stinks the nostrils and it flares the sinuses. Anyway.
They're just Lego.
Made of monkey flesh. Anyway, that's canon, listeners. That's canon. That's at canon.
That's canon to the podcast?
The podcast. If we ever do spin-off comics or books, those will be their own levels of canon.
Gosh.
So Disney buys us. Anyway, Captain Ghibli guy, whatever the hell his name was.
Fordo.
Whatever.
When he's fighting off the sewer battle droids by himself.
And he's like, and the camera's kind of shaky, and he's like pulling all those guns. That was really,
like a second gun.
And he's like,
great.
has the pistols. That was super cool. I like that Mace Windu just punches a bunch of super battle droids to death.
So you like that?
I did.
I think it's cool.
He's like, yeah.
I like it in the context of this show being, because the whole show is a bit over the top, even for what we see Jedi. It's kind of this weird like problem that I don't know if it's a problem, but this weird kind of thing that can happen in Star Wars is like depending on the material, there seems to be like a very wide chasm of what Jedi can and can't do.
Yes.
As in, like, if you compare any of the shit in this to what
Rey does.
Luke does. Well, Rey. Well, yeah, sure. But even Luke in, like, the original trilogy, I guess Rey and Luke are kind of on a similar level. Because, like, yeah, it's a similar vibe in those trilogies as to what Jedi are capable of, which is to say, not a whole ton.
Not even anything.
Like, physically. Like, they're and not to take anything away. I'm just saying, like, yeah, you never see Luke punch an army to death.
No, or, like, do a big force jump or run really fast.
And so, like, a thing that's been put forward for this series a lot is, like, you can almost treat it like it's legend. Like, sort of even at the time, again, like, the legends is what they call the non-canon stuff nowadays. But I mean even in the sense of, like, even at the time, it's kind of like, well, maybe this stuff did happen, but not exactly as we see it. Because, you know, the way we're seeing it is colored by perception, right?
Right.
So, like, maybe Mace Windu was on the Battle of Dantooine and, like, fought there. But it's like, maybe there was never a point where it was canon that Mace Windu punched an army to death. You know what I mean? Like, maybe that's always the fact. Because even in that one in particular, like, maybe we're seeing the point of view of that little kid who's watching him.
That's what I think we definitely are.
Yeah, so stuff like that.
And he can't really see too well, so what is he going to know? I did like how they did General Grievous. I think he's much cooler in this. He doesn't have his classic voice, though, which is a little disappointing, but, like, he does a lot more interesting things. He actually trains with Count Dooku a little bit. They kind of do the Cad Bane Clone Wars plot where the Emperor hires people to kill the Chancellor, but he's just the same person, so he's in on it.
Yes. But that's also essentially, obviously, like, that is how it goes in canon, too, is that he's hired himself to be kidnapped. He's commanded Dooku to kidnap him.
Right, yeah.
When he is him. But yeah, Grievous, yeah, this is the first thing he's ever been introduced in. So when he came out in this was the first time we ever saw him. And I agree. He's he's definitely kind of like more interesting and cool, but I think, and again, this is probably a symptom of like this, or a symptom, whatever. Like this is probably just kind of the way the show is presented and sort of the vibe they're going for. He's too good in this.
Yeah, he's very
Way too
powerful.
powerful. It's ridiculous. The how unkillable he is.
He defeats many masters. He defeats like 3 Master Jedi. He defeats Shang-Chi and the Forehead guy, who are Master Jedi.
Yeah. Well, no. So on the Battle of
Shido Hill.
No, I should know this. Is it Rhyperion? That's a Pokemon.
Yep, it is. From the Sinnoh generation.
Rhypori, I think. I think it's the Battle of Rhypori. So when they're in that downed acclimator ship, right? And it's just that group of Jedi, and they're like surrounded.
And that Padawan's tweaking.
Yeah.
He's like, I gotta go, man!
Are you familiar with that character?
Isn't he like Shaggy something?
He's called Shaggy.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Like Dash Gee.
I'm like, I know.
Like
I was like, he looked like Shaggy from Scooby Doo.
So that battle, yeah, but it's also Aayla Secura's there too. Aayla Secura, Ki-Adi-Mundi, and Shakti all are Jedi masters on the council at the time, no less, I think. And yeah, he schools them all and the other like 3 who were there or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit absurd, but again, I think that could kind of be a thing of like, maybe this is like the legend, right? Maybe in the quote-unquote real version of it, right? Maybe the Jord army did just advance, and so the Jedis had to fight off
droids
Dooku and the whole army, right?
Grievous and the whole army.
That's what I meant. I don't know, I keep doing that. But yeah, that and in the Battle of Coruscant parts, Grievous is just like absurd.
Yeah.
There's like 3 different points where it seems like they've killed him and lost him.
But he just shows up.
And then he just, he shows up where they're about to be. It's like that part where it actually kind of, like, it never stood out to me until this time. But when they're fighting him and then they get on the really fast elevator lift rail thing and they like zip away incredibly quickly. And then he's still just at like the next thing, like
he's behind all those thick doors.
They like open the door and he's already there. Yeah, behind all those doors. I'm like, how the fuck did he do that?
How did he run so fast?
How could he possibly, right?
He would be able to.
Because like Shakti stays behind to slow him down.
But she
does. Like she doesn't. She gets by it eventually, but she does like delay him some more, and he still catches up and overpasses them.
Yeah,
weird.
It's very confusing. Also, what also got me is that the moment Mace Windu shows up, he almost beats him.
Yeah. I think that's kind of cool, but because Mace Windu is to be one of the best, strongest Jedi.
Him and Yoda are like the strongest at the moment.
But it is kind of weird though that like Shakti couldn't do half that.
None of them use the Force to like crush him.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know why they wouldn't crush his arms or something.
I like those other 2 Jedi. Well, yeah, exactly, because he doesn't have the Force. It's a wonder that every time Grievous has ever showed up ever and is fighting a Jedi in any Star Wars thing, that's not their go-to move, is just crush him.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't actually have the Force and can't stop that.
Yeah, he's just kind of like, as he said, he's only trained in the arts of like fighting.
I don't know if, I don't want to insult your intelligence or anything, but I don't know if you could tell, but that's why he has his cough then. That's why he doesn't have his cough in the show. But then in episode 3 is because Mace Windu crushes his lungs.
Oh.
His organ sac.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought it was just because, doesn't he cough in the Clone Wars TV show, though?
He does, because again, that overrules this. So
okay. That would make sense, though, why? Because I always thought he coughed because he was just a weird cyborg monster.
I think that is why. I think that's what George Lucas intended, but then...
that makes sense.
It's like, I don't know how closely anyone worked with him on this show, or like if he was kind of reverse engineering this stuff, but he clearly got a bunch of lead up, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So let me see it's here. But like, yeah, obviously the last sort of chunk of the episodes there about the Battle of Coruscant, those exactly dovetail into episode 3, right?
Oh yeah, they're like, go help this guy.
And like watching these, you would be like, man, it's really setting it up. So the other thing about this show, I don't know if you could tell this, right? But as it was airing, it was released in like not normal episodes. So first of all, the whole show, right, is like 2-something hours all put together, less than 3 hours, right?
Yeah, it's like 2 hours and like 14 minutes, all told.
The whole show, right?
Yeah.
And that's because as it came out, it was not normal length episodes like nowadays, right?
Right.
It was like 5 to 10 minute episodes.
Oh.
Like much shorter that were released. Which kind of makes sense, I think, because one, you can kind of tell there's like self-contained little vignettes of like that Mace Windu one we were just talking about, right? That whole thing happens and it's like all self-contained and it's like probably, like 5 minutes-ish long, right? And I think you can kind of tell when you watch it, when you sit down and watch it as a whole thing, because it can get a bit frenetic, right?
Right.
There's not a lot of dialogue to speak of. There's
No.
not a lot of plot a lot of the times. It's just a lot of cool action scenes, which is
Oh, yeah.
fun, but I think, I feel like you start to feel it as you're watching it all at once because you're like, man, it's just nonstop. Whereas if you watched it week to week in a little 5-minute chunk and you're just like, this is a cool Star Wars action scene to watch, you'd be like, all right, cool.
Yeah, you'd be like, this is super fun.
Yeah, but I think watching them all
Back to
in a
back to
row
back to
can
back.
and I've done it before, don't get me wrong, and I really do enjoy this show. Like, it's got a special place in my old heart. I do
old
feel
heart.
That time. So on here, the first quote unquote season was from November 7 to November 20 of 2003. That's only like 2 weeks. And that was the first 10 episodes. Season 2 was March 26 to April 8 of 2004, which was another 10 episodes. And then Season 3 was March 22nd to March 26, 2005. So how did they even release that? So I think, quote-unquote, Season 1 and 2 are the first part that's on Disney+, and then Season 3 is the second part.
That makes sense.
So yeah, it went right up until very close to the release of Revenge of the Sith. So that makes sense. So that's pretty cool. Like I said, at the time, that would have been really sweet because you're like, it really does set up exactly
The plot.
Like, as in, I don't know, in the same way that like Rogue One leads into Episode
New Hope.
4 kind of timeline. Like,
'Cause
it literally ends
with them going
minutes,
go,
if less, before Episode 3 starts, and it provides a lot of maybe not requisite. Like, I don't think Episode 3 is like confusing to watch without it, but it certainly provides a lot of cool backstory for it. Where you're like, oh, okay, that's how they got the Chancellor and all.
I always think, and this one always shows it up, like, I always feel the Chancellor doesn't even try to hide the fact that he's evil and, like, is being a little nefarious. Maybe that's, like, the whole point. I mean, probably what it is. The Jedi are just clouded and they can't see the threat growing in front of their fucking noses, like, in front of their eyes. But, like, they reference in this episode and in the Clone Wars and in the movies that it's like, it's kind of weird that the Chancellor really likes Anakin. And they also mention that Anakin is, like, kind of too emotional and kind of, like, can be a little unstable and you need to help him. And they're not like, oh, they're just going to make him a Sith.
Yeah.
The fact
that's
that
kind of
none of them are like, oh, that's what he's doing.
Right. But again, that's sort of like the point of the prequel era
yeah.
Jedi Order. Is like
They're
they
just
have too
kinda
much
dumb.
hubris. They can't see past their own goddamn faces on some of this shit.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, man, I bet Palpatine is some kind of puppet of this Sith Lord that we've been looking for these years. Like, they don't even consider until it's literally right in front of their faces. Oh, he was the Sith Lord.
He was the guy the whole time.
And, like, some of it's that it's not even that they can't see it, but they're just willing to look past it. Because, again, as a further sign of how they've lost their weight, they're like, well, yeah, Anakin probably is too emotional. And Obi-Wan, in particular, is like, yeah, I know he is married to and is having a child with Padme, but he's my friend, and also he's real good at leading soldiers and flying ships and stuff, and we're in the middle of a war, so
We
why don't we
kinda
just
need him.
ignore it? The idea is that in peacetime, they wouldn't allow Anakin to carry on like he does, but it's because they need him, and because they think he's the chosen one and all, that they act like that.
a real Randall Thor.
Sure. Is he?
He's a chosen one.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Both those
he's the
characters are
chosen
literally
one.
the chosen ones.
And so, like, and also, though, again, that's kind of like the obnoxiously convoluted plan of Palpatine all along, right? Is presumably he fabricated the war, at least in part, to draw that out of Anakin and to allow him to go down that path and to allow them to turn a blind eye to it. Because if it was peacetime, Anakin probably would have gotten mellowed out earlier, but as it was, they're like, well, we need him to be like this almost. So.
You know what's funny is that at any point during the war, Anakin could have just been killed.
Yeah. I think that too about a lot of... I also sometimes think that, like, there's a few plots that happen throughout the course of the Clone Wars, which Palpatine really doesn't have a hand in at all.
Yeah.
I mean, like, 9 times out of 10 he does. Because he's doing that thing where he's playing both sides to get exactly what he wants.
He's pulling a Mac. I play both sides, and then I come out on top.
Yeah, so he comes out on top. So 9 times out of 10, every situation in, like, the Clone Wars, he's getting the Republic and the Separatists to do exactly what they want, and neither side really know. But there's a couple times where he really isn't, and I always think that. I'm like, what if this goes wrong or right or whatever, and he actually did just die?
Or it's like horribly maimed and can't fight
And then
anymore.
I guess we know now that Palpatine's like invincible, or he had his spirit would have gone to Exegol or whatever. But
even then, what if Anakin had just been like, well, actually, or he was like, if Anakin not even died, just got like injured, and they just healed him with the Force, and they're like,
yeah,
actually, dude, maybe you're just out of the war for a bit, and you help you mellow out, and then he just mellows out.
I think maybe the idea is that he probably had backup plans for basically everything. So like Anakin was his first choice, but maybe if Anakin literally did just die in the war,
We pick somebody else.
yeah, he would just have someone else in there. Because yeah, again, it's the same thing. Like there is a number of things that happen in the Clone Wars involving Anakin that are not Palpatine's doing at all, where Anakin could maybe just die. I obviously know he doesn't, but I have had that same thought before, and I think that's basically the answer. Is that he probably has, yeah, again, because of what we know now about like the sequels and stuff, I guess he probably has backup plans even for his own death as well. Like,
Yeah.
there's contingencies in place, I bet.
Maybe he could just revive Anakin.
Yeah, maybe. I have that theory, have I even said that on the show? That I think that he does actually know how to stop people from dying. Well, obviously, he knows how to stop himself from dying, but I think he can actually heal people and stuff. Because I think that Anakin should have died after Mustafar,
Or that he is dead.
or that he has died or is about to, and that Palpatine saves him by stealing away Padme's life force. And that's why Padme also inexplicably dies.
I need some of that there, and I definitely agree with it, because I'm going to be like, she died of a
Well, yeah.
broken heart.
I don't even, it's almost like, yeah, I mean, not to toot my own horn or anything. Also, I don't think I'm nearly the first person to come up with this. But yeah, it makes a lot of stuff at the end of that movie make more sense. And it almost when you kind of put it, you're like, maybe it really is what he intended. Like maybe we're meant to read into that. Because otherwise it's just so absurd that she just dies of a broken heart.
Oh,
right?
100%.
So let's talk about some of the other characters. So this is the first introduction of Grievous, like we said. This is
Right.
also the first introduction of Dirge. What did you think of him?
Who?
He's the bounty hunter, big, fleshy monster that Obi-Wan fights towards the beginning.
Oh, that's who that is?
Yeah, he's called Dirge.
I thought it was a weird separatist monster.
Whatever he is.
I thought he was
What did I say?
spy hunter.
Oh, well, yeah, he's a bounty. No, they refer to him as a bounty hunter in that show.
I do that. I don't remember.
Yeah, there's the part where the
Bankerman.
gross banking clan guy is like, "Why did Dooku hire you if you're just going to stand over there?" And then he's just like,
I guess I'll go do something.
So yeah,
Thought it was vaguely interesting.
yeah, all right. So that's about all.
Think
Yeah.
a lot out of him.
Fun shape.
Yeah, he's interesting.
He's like a real big dude.
Also, they just use lances
What do
to
you think? Yeah, I was
joust.
gonna say
That was a
isn't
bit
cool?
much.
There's a lot
And
of
then
that,
when
though.
I didn't like how Obi-Wan wore a clone helmet.
Yeah,
He was like,
that's
mount up.
That's a really cool look for Obi-Wan, is when he's wearing all that clone armor. Well, he's really just wearing a full suit of clone trooper armor, and then he's just got like a cape and Jedi robes kind of over top of it. I think it's also sick.
I thought it was cool. I liked the opening scene of that, where it's got like the commando squad,
Yeah, the ARC
and they're
troopers.
like doing all the hand
Yeah,
signals,
yeah.
and they're like,
That's Captain Fordo. That's the same guy.
is that guy?
Yeah, he changed his armor, but he's there later on.
Oh, you know what? From this distance, I can't see him.
The red ARC trooper captain who's leading them in that scene is the same guy who's fighting on Coruscant there. But yeah, I like that as well. I like when he gives his little speech. He's like, "You're the best of the best. Get in there. Get it done, boys."
Get on, get out.
And
He's
they
like,
do. I think, yeah, I like them. The jousting thing is kind of like, to me, is sort of like endemic of what the whole this show is, which is like Star Wars, but also it's just a little weird and kind of fun.
yeah.
But also that is kind of what Star Wars is, right? Star Wars is the type of thing, because it is like the space, science fiction, fantasy type
Opera.
amalgamation. Yeah, where it would be the type of thing where you have guys on speeder bikes, but they also just have joust. They're like lances.
To joust
But they're
you.
like electric lances. They're like weird power
And they got the
lances that-
weird I-88 droids or whatever the hell
yeah,
they're
those
called.
are assassin droids.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. I like that scene as well. Well, and then because then the clones get their own lances and their own
They're
spears.
like, yeah, and they get him. That's good. Thought it was sad, a little bumming when Grievous just shows up the first time. Chaz Palpatine's like, I'm not in danger. I'm like, you son of a bitch,
Yeah.
you know you're in danger. And then they're all there, and then Shakti's like, defend them. And I'm like, all those clone troopers are just dead. And then he
Yeah.
just brutally murders them all.
What do you think about the other Jedi who are with her?
Like the throat shout guy.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm ashamed to admit I don't know either of those guys by name. But they're both big. There's the Ithorian one, who's the guy with the throat, which I think that's really cool that he uses that.
The force shout.
Yeah, I don't think it's a Force thing.
I heard
My understanding, maybe he's augmenting it with the Force, but my
I
understanding.
heard the second one is the force one. When he rips up the
Yeah, okay.
ground, that's the force one. The first one isn't.
Yeah, my understanding was that's just something his species can do. They can't talk right with like normal like human speech because they do like that. They're like a Black Bolt type situation because they got real powerful throats. And then the other guy's he's called the Tals. He's also just a big guy. I love a big Jedi.
That's pretty good.
I love like a big oversized Jedi
Who can like just leap really far.
yeah, who's just like normal, like is big, strong, like a big Wookiee Jedi even. But that guy's bigger than a Wookiee. He could just beat you up without the Force.
Oh yeah.
Just throw you around. I like that.
They made the Wookiees all weird in this one. They made them kind of like
there's
monkeys.
a little bit of Wookiees.
Made them kind of more monkeys than bears.
I think that's like an episode 3 thing. They're swinging around lots in episode 3. You think they're supposed to be bears?
Definitely, my man.
I mean, he's furry, but they're kind of both. I mean, he's also not real, so. I'm saying in episode 3 they live in trees. Like, what do you?
Okay, bears can climb trees too, my man.
I don't know, but like it's more of like a jungle scenario. I thought the implication has always been that they're kind of more primate-like.
I always assumed the opposite. They were more bear-like. Because you know what?
But then,
hold on.
I get that bears can climb.
You know what's more
trees.
primate-like?
What's that?
The humans.
What's that?
The humans in there are more primate-like, my man.
Humans in where?
In Star Wars.
Oh, more primate-like than what?
Than anything else, because they're literal.
Well, yeah. Are you just saying humans are primates?
Yes.
Whatever? Well, yeah, I get it, but
that's all I'm
saying.
To say.
If they were bears, like I get that bears can climb trees, but bears live in like caves and like hollows and shit.
They can live in trees.
Do they really though? Do bears live in trees? Do they make homes in trees? Are you fucking with me?
Space bears can't. Again, Zach, it's not real. Like you just said to me.
It's weird observation. I don't know. It never stood out to me. Interesting. I appreciate your perspective on that.
What got me is like they get weird hand feet, like monkeys do.
Yeah, but they've always had hand feet.
Have they?
Oh yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
They're also in this for like what 20 seconds,
and I remembered it very well.
I guess so. Left an impression on you, huh?
Because I was like, this is weird.
They're cool though.
I didn't think I said, and they were like, and the droids are taking over the world.
Yeah.
It's the banking clan.
I like that about the Separatists. I've always liked that they're like.
We talked about this before, not off the show.
I was gonna say off the show is that it's clearly a bit of wry social commentary by George Lucas. Is that they're like, oh no, we're really just we're the good guy. Like we're against the corrupt government. Your government is corrupt, which it is in that show. In the real world too, but specifically in Star Wars, they also are right about that. And so they're just like, no, we're the good guys. We're trying to separate because your government is so corrupt and bloated and bad. We're actually the good guys. And they're right about that. But then if you see like who makes up the leaders of the Separatists, it's like the banking clan, it's the Techno Union,
the Trade Federation,
it's the Commerce Guild. It's all these like
companies,
mega corporations.
It's like if Amazon declared war on the U.S. government.
Mega corporation isn't even sufficient. Like mega corporation describes like things we have on Earth, like Amazon and
Google and Apple.
I don't know what you called them in Star Wars, where they own
Class 2
yeah, where they own like
planets,
star systems, and planets and shit. But yeah, it's good stuff. What do you think about Asajj Ventress in this show?
I thought she was pretty cool, even though she gets bodied by Padawan Anakin, which is
See, that's the thing, is that Dirge and her both appear to die in this, but they both come back in other stuff within the Clone Wars multimedia project. In addition to, of course, Asajj Ventress being in canon, obviously in the Star Wars Clone Wars show, and having a full storyline in that. Yeah, she also just returns in Legends. But yeah, it's a fun scene. That is something I want to talk about. Like, that's a significant difference, not just for the show, but for that whole Clone Wars multimedia project. And so, for Legends versus canon, is Anakin's character. Is that in canon, they wanted to focus more on, they're obviously in the Clone Wars show, his thing is all about Ahsoka, right?
Yeah.
That show is all about him dealing with that. That's all his character development almost comes from
hanging out with
teaching Ahsoka. And so she's introduced immediately. And so as a result, obviously to facilitate that, Anakin is knighted almost immediately after episode 2, like within months, because he takes on Ahsoka as his Padawan like 2 months after episode 2. So, presumably he's already been a knight for at least some period of time that you know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost immediate. Which they kind of talk about that in
this show, right?
Where they're like, there's this, so like the Jedi Trials, right? They talk about them. It's like, it's a thing. I don't know what it was created for specifically. Maybe even for this. I don't know. But like, there's like properly supposed to be all these different trials that you have to go through. It's like flesh and mind and spirit and all this shit.
Yeah, you look into the mirror.
Yeah, but sometimes you can just skip them. Like Obi-Wan got to skip them because he killed Darth Maul. Right? That was a significant enough
trial to go through
that they were like, it counts as all of them, I guess. And that's a similar thing happens to Anakin in this. And so presumably in canon as well, that's the scenario, is that he did enough to just count. Like, because his duel with Dooku would count as his trial of the flesh, obviously.
His hand cut
'cause
off.
His hand gets cut off. So, I don't know. It's just an interesting thing, because in the Clone Wars multimedia project, all the way through, virtually until, well, obviously we see it in this show even, for a lot of it, he is still a Padawan. And so that Padawan, like, master relationship is preserved longer. Whereas in the, again, because of the Ahsoka in the, the 2008 series, he is a master to a Padawan instead of the other way around.
Right.
Essentially, it's something that I've observed before of like in that Clone Wars multimedia project, Anakin and Barriss Offee are treated as essentially equals, right? They're peers.
Mm.
Whereas in the 2008 series, Ahsoka and Barriss Offee are peers.
Because they're Padawans.
Yeah.
Even though Barriss Offee's master is just a master,
yeah,
and Anakin is just a knight, so
yeah,
not quite the same. And then she turns evil.
Yeah, there's all that. But still, it's just an interesting little thing I've noticed is that, like, like I said, in the other stuff, they were treated as peers, and obviously now Ahsoka and her were peers. It's just an interesting little quirk.
One thing I thought was a little strange is when Yoda saves, I forgot both their names.
Luminara and Unduli and Barriss Offee.
Yeah, both of them on Ilum.
Yeah.
And he's like, Dooku, someone leaked the plans. And it's like, of course it was fucking Dooku. Who else?
He was a Jedi, remember?
Yeah, you trained him. He was your guy. You fucked up, my man.
You guys should have seen this coming.
Yeah,
why should have been like, anywhere that we took Dooku, let's just make sure that's extra secure.
Yeah, let's just like put some guy on it there. Let's put a Jedi there like all times, checking the place.
That's actually one of my favorite of the little vignettes, is the Ilum one. Primarily just because I think that little speech she gives is really cool in the beginning.
The blade is the Force, and the Force is the knife that cuts the butter. That is the world. That spreads on the toast. That is the Force. But it's like, and you are the toaster that makes the bread.
Jedi are the blade of the Force, and
the Force is the blade of the mind.
The heart of the Jedi, and
the sword is the
crystal is the heart of the blade. I just think it's fun. I don't know. It's a cool little thing. I like them. Like making a lightsaber.
It's real good.
Like spinning a lightsaber in the air with the Force. They do that all the time. It's great stuff. And then you put it together. You have all the parts separate and you smush it all together. It's good stuff. I think we caught a lot of the broad strokes. Commander Cody is introduced in this. That's kind of fun. Like when he's like, the siege is going well, sir.
3 more months.
3 more months.
And he's like,
and then he's like, 3 months. He's like, yep, we're ahead of schedule, actually. And then he flies away.
We've been here only a month. He goes, well, right on schedule then. And then Anakin eats bugs?
Yeah, he's happy to just eat bugs. That's weird, right?
Why? Why does he eat bugs?
Why he
slurps up a big worm like it's spaghetti.
So what do you think of Anakin's spirit quest?
When he goes...
Or spirit trial. When Obi-Wan's like, alright, this is going to be your trial of the spirit. Because we skipped them all before and we just made you a knight. This is it. This is all along. I think it's cool. I think it's weird. I can never get... I know, like, we're supposed to be happy at the end of, like, well, he let all the men free and they got to come back to their family. But I'm always...
As gross monsters.
It's gross. I hate it. I'm always just like... I can't help but think, like, man, those men are irreparably...
Damaged.
Yeah, like, they're just...
monsters.
Worse. Yeah, it's kind of sucks. And, like, it seems like there's no going back.
Yeah, they just put him in a bunch of goo and they... Like, I don't know why Anakin didn't save the one.
I think that, too.
Because he could have just
saved that one. I guess that was the very last one who hadn't yet been turned, and I'm just like, fuck, he could have got him at least.
And he wouldn't have been a monster.
But yeah, it's cool. He does that kind of thing where he's like sees his fucking future.
And he sees Darth Vader.
Yeah. And then he's just powerless to stop it, pretty much.
Nah, he could try to.
Destiny. No, he could. But a similar thing happens in the Mortis trilogy in Star Wars.
Bless you.
Which is fun. Mortis was a bless you? Get out of here.
Oh, well, fine.
So,
She's walking away.
What else? We can talk about more abstract or less abstract. What did you think of like the voice? I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of the voice cast is the same.
I did notice that. I noticed that for Obi-Wan. I noticed that for Windu and Yoda. I did notice that a lot of them the same. And I like that. Dooku was the same, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I did notice. I liked it. It was good. General Grievous' voice was a little off-putting because it was different. But I didn't mind it.
General Grievous is just so different. He's again, I mean, we already talked about that was like one of the first minutes. But he's just I like him. I think he's interesting. But I also think I think what he comes to be is fine, and probably better.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people lament that he's not like that more often in things, especially. And I will admit this, that in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, he is too cowardly, and it really kind of devalues his
menacingness.
Yeah, exactly. His status as a villain when every week he's the villain, and so every week they defeat him and he runs away with his tail between his legs.
Yeah, even in his own lair.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of see, but I think there's probably a middle ground, which is achieved mostly by the movies and most of the Clone Wars. But yeah, this idea that like Grievous should be this, which is just like unbeatable to any Jedi, doesn't really vibe with me personally. He's just too good in this. I don't know. He's too fast. He's too strong.
His arms spin around.
Yeah, the fact that Jedi can't beat him in one-to-one combat is usually comes down to his lightsabers, right? Like
He says more
he's
lightsabers.
got 4, and even for a skilled Jedi, even with the relative lack of finesse that he would have, it's hard to deal with, right? Even without the Force and all. But yeah, the fact that he can do like a 6-on-1, it's a bit much.
Yeah, I think so. And he can like jump really high and move really fast. Yeah, he said.
Yeah. Also, I do agree. His voice is kind of weird. What do you... So, I don't know if we said that... I mean, we said it a couple weeks ago or last week or there. But the reason we watched this was sort of in preparation / anticipation of the Star Wars Visions series, which is...
Coming out the 22nd.
Yes, which is a series that is literally going to be... It's literally anime, right?
It's made by Japanese anime studios.
Yeah. And I think it's even...
And Zach hates
have
anime.
dubbed or something stuff. I don't hate it.
Yes, you do.
But the reason we watched this is because, to my eye, this was the closest thing that Star Wars has done as of yet to anime. So I just thought it fit, right?
Yeah, I agree.
And so you're going to be the resident anime expert here.
I will be.
Of the two of us. So did you get anime vibes from this?
No.
All? Not even from like the action?
Not particularly. Like, it just seemed...
I know that it's not animation style, like directly, but it is 2D animation, which a lot of anime still is. Not even from like I don't know. To me, like I guess
the closest one. I guess it's not true. The Grievous fight was very esque because it's like a one against many kind of fight, and he's jumping around doing a lot of spin moves.
Yeah. And I thought the Mace Windu one to me is always the one that stands out. Is like because anime can be over the top like that and kind of crazy with the action, right?
Right.
To me, the idea of a Jedi literally punching a bunch of robots to death, that felt anime-like to me, no?
Yeah, one thing it wasn't anime was when Yoda is running around with his little like animal and he's killing things. Why is it a duck?
A Kai duck.
Why is there a duck in that name?
I don't know.
It's not a duck. It's like clearly like...
It might be Kai Buck.
I think it is Buck because it looks like a deer, my man.
Oh, that would make much more sense, wouldn't it? I think it's Kai Buck. Yeah, my bad.
I'm the resident Star Wars expert.
Are you kidding me? I knew what Kai Buck was. Come on.
No,
that's pretty good, no?
I mean, you're the one who says Rogue One isn't the best Star Wars movie, so you're really a Star Wars fan?
Yes. Yes. What are you talking about?
But you don't say it's the best movie.
So?
It is the best movie, objectively.
We're not doing this. Whoa. He's a Kai Buck. He's cool. I love that. I love a Jedi riding a mount of any kind.
It's great.
Because like
those things on Hoth? What are they called?
Tauntauns? Good enough.
No, Bantha's the big one.
Bantha is the one on Tatooine. The big elephants that Tuskens ride.
I thought the Bantha was the snow monster.
That's a Wampa.
Then who are the French?
But yeah, I love a Jedi on a mount. I love in episode 3 when Obi-Wan gets to ride that lizard dragon thing.
Yeah, then it dies. I was like, no!
Yeah, Boga dies. It's very unfortunate. Like when Yoda's riding this, I like... Yeah, Luke on Hoth's pretty close. Good enough. He doesn't do much lightsaber. But I don't know. I guess it's just because it's a night thing, right? I mean, they're Jedi Knights. And like they're riding a horse. And like the idea of like swinging a lightsaber from a mount is real cool. I have that Old Republic cover. I got like this special cover that has the Jedi riding into battle on... things that look very much like horses. They're basically just Star Wars horses. I don't know what they're called.
Star Horses?
But yeah, I love it. I love a Jedi on a mount. I think that's fun. He doesn't do it much, though. It's just basically that little clip in the beginning, right?
Yeah, and then he's like...
the intro.
He's like, go! It's not safe here. And he goes, alright, and then he leaves.
Oh, no, you're right. He is riding it in
the Battle of Coruscant.
The Battle of Coruscant as well. Of course, my bad. Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything that stood out to you as anime-like?
I guess maybe just the fight scenes, probably.
Yeah, well, that's what I meant. It's like, and again, just kind of the over top. Even for Star Wars, some of it's kind of over the top and weird. Again, like the lance is like the punching all the droids to death. Yeah, like Grievous being able to 6v1 a bunch of Jedi. I really like when Sei-Sei-Tin takes those clones out into space.
Yeah, and he's like, wait for my signal. Go!
They all just jump into space. That's pretty fun.
That's good. He's like, prepare to board. He's like, this ship is doomed, sir. Good.
It's great. I think
we shall get another.
Like I said, the dialogue is not like there's not a lot of it, but I think a lot of it is pretty fun and good.
Oh yeah.
Kind of, sort of epic. And yeah, it covers it again. There's a lot of cool Jedi doing cool Jedi stuff, which is always, like I said, it does create that kind of dissonance sometimes of like, how come Jedi can do this in this thing and not in this thing? Because you're like, it's kind of like a video game sort of paradox of it, which is like when you're playing a video game, but then your guy gets to like the cutscene, it's like, just do that, all those abilities you have.
Do the Force Unleashed action when you.
And it's literally that. It's like, man, I see this series where they're doing all this stuff. How come in episode 3 X, Y, or Z didn't just do that or this or but whatever?
How come all those Jedi Masters lost to one Sith Lord? I know he's the best one, but how do they all lose?
Yeah.
Kit Fisto lost. I saw Kit Fisto through the water and kill those guys.
Oh, that's also a really cool one.
That was a great one.
That's one of the cool
I
vignettes.
really like that one.
He takes his shirt off.
He's like,
he's shirtless.
I'm ripped, and then he dives in and just swims
that's
around.
his thing, is water, because he's a weird squidman.
He's a
Of
good.
course he likes
He's
water.
a good squidman.
Oh, it's great. That is replicated as well in an arc in the Clone Wars. He goes swimming around shirtless in the Mon Cala.
Is the one they go to the Greedo planet?
No, they go to the
Calamari
Mon Cala
planet?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Isn't there one they go to the Greedo planet?
Yeah,
It's like a
that's
swamp. It's in a dome.
It's a swamp, exactly.
Isn't Kit Fisto there?
Nope.
Is that we went there?
Mm-mm.
Who's there?
It's a Padme and Jar Jar episode. It's called The Bombad Jedi.
No, I don't like it anymore.
Also, that planet's called Rhodia because they're Rhodians.
I didn't know that.
Well, I just told you.
I wish you had. Now I'm cursed with knowledge. Zach, I only have 100 thoughts.
Yep. Oh, I meant to ask you. So, there's like different kinds of animes, right? Are you familiar with this? There's like different like terms for like the different sort of...
Styles?
Yes, maybe? I don't know if it's style or it's more stories.
Well, there's genres. Are you talking about genres, my man?
Yeah. But they're like Japanese words, of course. Right?
Yes.
So like what are the genres?
Well, there's... I don't know a lot. There's shonen.
Shonen. Yeah, that's one of them.
So
what is
shonen
that?
is probably the most popular kind. It's basically just for like middle school to like high school boys. Like basically, if you think Dragon Ball,
Yeah,
that's most of
it's
shonen.
like fighty
So
ones.
there's like a protagonist who's like a teenager, and there's like a group of other protagonists who are also teenagers, and they go on like a big quest. And they fight a bunch of people.
So that's
and
your Dragon Ball, your
Dragon
Naruto.
Ball, your Naruto, your Fairy Tale.
Does JoJo count as that?
No, I would not count JoJo as that. JoJo, because JoJo's got a weird thing. So we're gonna take into JoJo's Bizarre Adventure time now, for listeners. If you don't like JoJo, the fucking sorry, my man.
We don't get it.
But no. But so this is not gonna be. It's not long. So JoJo started out in the Shonen magazine, and then as time went on, within the last
Shonen Jump.
Shonen Jump,
That's literally
yeah,
what it's called.
it's Shonen
Okay.
Jump,
Yeah.
and then in the last 2 story arcs of it, it has become a monthly release in Ultra Jump, which is a seinen manga, which is
what's
more
seinen?
adult.
Okay.
So like it's longer, more adult, like Berserk or Attack on Titan are seinen.
I've heard
Because they're like more violent. There's
Yeah.
more adult themes and stuff. I wasn't gonna go on a whole JoJo thing. I just wanted to explain
Yeah.
that.
Is there also like accepted styles for the genres? Because I feel like I've heard characters like visually be described as like, yeah, he's like a classic like maybe shonen. What is it?
Shonen.
Like, oh yeah, that guy's got he like looks like a shonen, like a kind of classic shonen protagonist.
Yeah, there are some styles. So basically, the idea is just like they kind of look like Goku. Really,
Yeah,
is the idea.
he's a
So
shonen
like
protagonist.
if they've
Okay.
got kind of
And
spiky,
spikier.
weird
'Cause I think
hair,
there's
different
some of
colored
that-
hair.
There's some of that in the Star Wars Visions,
Yeah, there definitely
trailer.
is.
and I think people just I think that's where I'm getting this from. Is they describe they're like, yeah, that guy looks like a shonen protagonist.
Yeah, that's what it is. And like
So-
yeah. They got like
presumably
big eyes and
the
stuff.
Star Wars, the Star Wars Visions like, is going to be drawing from that, right? That genre, if anything, right?
I would say it's probably because it's like
Because it'd be an action thing, and it's good, probably that age range.
yeah. I would definitely say it's gonna be kind of some shonen kind
I
of
can't
style.
imagine there's going to be a slice of life.
No, or like a harem episode or
yeah, weird schoolgirl subplot in any of these. I think they're all going to be
magical girls doing where there's a magical. Actually,
Yeah.
no. Well, actually, there's that one story where there are the 2 twin girls. So there might be a magical girl transformation, which
boy.
is I don't. There's I don't know. There's a word for like one's aimed at like young girls, but I don't know what it's called.
Because
It's like Sailor Moon esque.
manga/anime, whatever.
Manga. Don't say manga.
Sorry. In,
Jesus Christ.
in
I just
Japan,
fucking said that.
all right, calm down. Is like, it's just more popular than, say, like comic books are here, right? I think there was
Yeah.
a time where comic books were on a similar level where they were really popular and they sold them at newsstands and shit, and like they had all these different genres. But
Mm.
nowadays it's kind of pigeonholed into superheroes for the most part. Yeah, not to say that those don't exist, because if anything, there's probably also like a bigger market for them than there have been in a long time, because comic books are popular again. So there probably is. Well, I know for a fact there is, like, indie publishers and stuff they still put out, like, horror stuff and things like that. But by and large, it's mostly pigeonholed down to superhero stuff. Whereas in Japan, right, I think manga's just popular enough that it is just a medium comparable to, like, movies or TV shows where they can just
100%.
tackle all kind of genres, and there's enough people interested that they will sell them. Whereas
Oh yeah,
if Marvel tried to put out, like, a teenage girl focused
Slice of life.
schoolgirl comic tomorrow, not enough people would buy it, probably.
yeah, it wouldn't be super popular. You guys
So,
like,
yeah.
why is Marvel making things for women or something?
Yeah,
Some
exactly.
neckbeard on Twitter would just piss
Precisely.
everybody off.
But so,
Like that one guy who made all those tweets about how much he didn't like women.
Yeah, where he just named his least favorite character in every MCU movie, and it was always just the woman.
And because they were a woman
Yeah,
and
they
had
were
opinions.
too much of a strong woman with opinions. Yeah,
And it's like,
fuck that guy.
yikes, man. You're a fucking nutcase.
I mean, I said the guy, but presumably there's thousands of Twitter users just like that guy.
They're
The
all...
one guy I'm thinking of in
Yeah.
my head. So if you can think of recalling something like that on Twitter, listeners, it's probably that guy too.
Oh, that guy. If you ever think of him, it's sure, you're right.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that Stars of His show. It
Me
should
too.
be cool. I think it's going to be a similar thing. I think it's going to be, if anything, even more out there because this, even though did get kind of cool and out there at times, like I said at the top there, it still was creating a canon story.
Yeah.
Whereas the thing with this series,
It's like anthology,
none of
right?
them are canon. Yeah, they're all anthology, so there's not even like one continuous storyline. Even this one, which it's anthology-esque in that first couple seasons, right, of this
Right,
show,
yeah.
with the vignettes, because like, well, there's like sort of the overarching thing of Anakin and Obi-Wan, but then it's like, yeah, here's the Obi-Wan vignette, here's the Yoda vignette, here's the fucking Kit Fisto one. This show is nothing but anthology that I don't think any of it's canon. I think they just let them have free reign. Like, hey man, make a weird anime thing that takes place vaguely in Star Wars. But like, I don't know, man. Some of the stuff in those trailers are just absurd.
Yeah.
There's like a chick who's got like 6 arms.
Like, yeah, I saw that.
Like,
I saw it
crazy
today. I was
shit.
like,
it should be fun.
I
I'm excited. Even though, again, anime's not. I don't hate anime. I don't know why you said that. You know, I've watched animes.
just one.
Is animes? Well, that means I don't hate them though.
I think anime is just a plural word. You can use it as
Anime is the plural of animes.
like I've watched a lot of anime. I think that would be the
Mm.
sentence you'd use. Like
So no,
animes would be strange. I think.
Strange.
Well, fuck me then, man.
But yeah, I don't know what you said. I don't hate them. I've seen an anime.
I've seen your blog.
No, I don't have a ranting about anime blog.
Not yet.
I've been known to call a person a weeb before. I can't even.
me.
deny
It's
it.
me.
It's-
Don't say I've been known to call
Well,
a person or
well-
two. It's just me, my man.
I know others as well. That's what I was trying to get at.
That's
I've
mostly-
called you and other people weebs before. Don't worry. It's not just you. but
I feel like it's mostly me though.
I hate it. I've said to you before, like, and I guess this is. I don't know if this makes any sense, but like. The thing that if I had to say something I dislike about anime, it's not like the style or anything. It's like the stories, maybe, or like some of the writing. Not even the stories, but some of the writing kind of tropes and like quirks that they fall back on. I
Yeah,
totally find
there's
annoying.
there's definitely if you're for certain genres, there's definitely key things that if you know them, you'll find them very easily, and if you don't like them, I mean, for a lot of them, like,
And maybe again, it applies to these genres. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
so. Maybe like, I think probably almost everything I've ever watched is that shonen kind of thing. And I've told you before, I don't like the weird like where they do the over exaggerated faces sometimes, where like someone will get exasperated and suddenly his head is giant and his eyes are all gigundo and he's breaking out in sweat and like I don't know.
yeah,
Some of that can like they go whoa, and you do like a big mouth agape thing where your jaw literally like drops down. I
the
don't know.
face faults and stuff.
Gets a bit much, I think is my thing. So I don't even know if writing it's like because I feel like the style really can be cool and the action stuff and the way that they are kind of more loose and free with just like we're just gonna
Do whatever
go
the fuck we
crazy.
want. Yeah,
but yeah, some of the stuff in between the big fight scenes can get a bit like come on. What I'm saying is why can't this stuff marketed to literal children to be a little more serious, Jack?
well, just read Berserk, my guy.
I probably do gotta read. I have a list of animes that I think or anime that I think I would enjoy based off of like what they're about and stuff. And I think some of those are more adult. That I should probably just watch one of those and I'd probably be more into it.
What's a couple of them? I might know them.
I got a list. Here.
I mean,
I'll bring it up. Might as
Yeah,
well.
we
What
can
else
talk
we
about
got?
one or two of them. You got a lot of lists there, my man. You just not have it? You just lied to me
I
and all
think
the
maybe it's on
listeners?
my phone. We'll see.
Wouldn't the notes be connected across devices?
Man, I don't I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? Explain yourself.
Yes, I think so. They should be. I've got my Young Avengers list here.
Very good.
Here it is. All right, I found it.
All right.
So the one you're referring to as the one anime that I've watched or am watching is Gate.
I have not watched that one. You've told me about that.
Which
I
is
have not
one
watched
where,
it.
Yeah, the portal opens between modern Japan and like a fantasy world.
And they kill everybody.
Yeah, and so the modern Japanese army just rolls in and fucks them all up. Then the other one I have, Ghost in the Shell. That's like a classic one.
It's like a movie.
That's an adult one as well. Right?
Yeah, that's a more
that
adult
one
one.
should not have those weird things.
No, that's like a
bother me.
classic one.
I have Bungo Stray Dogs on here,
I've heard of that one, but I
which
don't know what
is
it's about.
It's about like they're like gung fu cops or something. They're like some kind of law enforcement agency is the idea.
Right.
That one is literally on here because of clips I've seen where they're like doing the gun kata thing of like they're in close quarters and they're like smacking their guns away and trying to shoot each other. I don't know, that really appealed to me. I have Real Drive on here. I don't remember what that one's about. I have Samurai Champloo.
Samurai Champloo? I believe that's the one where you have to fight for headbands.
I have Jormungand. I have Pella Magi Madoka Magica.
No
I have
idea.
Gun Gale Online, which is like a Sword Art Online sequel.
Don't watch
You
it.
think so?
It's
Okay.
bad, trust me.
I've
watched Sword
like
Art Online.
gun ones.
No.
Because I think the gun thing is cool.
Gun Gale, Sword Art Online is just a sequel to Gun Gale.
That's
Yeah,
what I
there's
said.
sequels. I
Yeah.
know you said that. Neither of them are good.
Okay.
I've watched them. They're not
Fair
good.
enough. I have Black Lagoon.
I heard that one's good. That
Desert
one's...
Punk.
Don't know that one.
Zetsuen no Tempest.
Don't know that one.
Trigun.
I've heard that. And that was an old one from the 90s.
Cowboy Bebop.
That one's a classic. Everybody loves that one.
Yeah, and then just Neon Genesis and
Evangelion.
and Full Metal Alchemist, which I think those
Watch-
are just classic ones.
You gotta
right?
watch Brotherhood. Don't watch
Well, I
the
have,
original.
that's what I
Yeah,
have Full
Brotherhood's
Metal.
the
I
better
know. I
one.
know. I have Full Metal Alchemist. I should say that.
Another one you could watch, people like, is Hunter x Hunter. That one's like a mature one. It's kind of
Does it have
serious.
guns though? I want guns. I want cool gun fu.
It doesn't have guns. You can watch One Piece. You can read One Piece.
There's no guns in that, right?
No, there are guns.
Are they like piratey flintlock guns though?
Yeah.
Is there any Black Hawk helicopters like in Gate that tear apart an army of medieval footmen?
Not a... Nope.
Well, I don't see if it's gonna appeal to me in the same kind of way.
That's fair. No, that's fair. You can
You
watch...
want to talk about that other thing I had? Well, I mean, didn't mean to cut you off literally mid-sentence there, but
No, that's all right. What would the show be if we didn't cut
that's right.
We're like an hour and a half.
I mean, we could just end it if you like, unless you want to touch on that. I mean, I could say it and then we could just cut it if you want. Cut all this? Cut everything?
Cut it all, no episode?
Cut the whole episode. No episode.
Sure, let's talk about it. I don't
All right.
care. We'll keep
So
the
the
episode.
last thing I had was just a little bit of quick news
Yeah, that'd be fine.
that we talk about was that 2 actresses have been cast for the Disney Plus Echo show, which, I'm going to be honest, until I saw this, did not know that was going to be a show.
I knew that.
I didn't. When is that? I feel like that's not been, I've never seen a title card for it where like they have her, because everyone gets their own fancy text for their title. I've never seen it. You familiar with this?
Yeah, I
I
am.
didn't hear about it. When did they announce this?
A while ago.
Because I feel like I see everyone does those like, this is everything in Phase 4, and I've
Yeah.
never seen Echo be in there. All right. I mean, it's almost irrelevant. It is, the casting call is for 2 deaf actors specifically.
Right.
Neither of them are Echo, because she is cast and in the Hawkeye show, right? That's how she's introduced. That will be her sort of like intro to the universe, and then these will be 2 somehow supporting characters for her,
Right.
So I just thought that was interesting. I just kind of wanted to rant about Echo a little. Well, not rant, but like
I don't
just mansplain Echo to you.
Yay.
It's just interesting. I must have heard or knew that she was going to be in the Hawkeye show, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot about it until I saw this.
I knew she was in the Hawkeye show.
Yeah. It's kind of a weird choice and also not a weird choice. So the thing about Echo is that she is she's a Daredevil supporting character, right?
Hmm.
She's like Kingpin's adopted daughter.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then so it's like there's times where like she fights. It's one of those things where like she fights Daredevil, and then Daredevil's like, "No, can't you see? He's the bad guy." And she's like, "Oh yeah, you are. You're right."
Oh, you're definitely right. Oh,
And then
100%.
She's good. And then obviously there's a parallel there, right? She's a deaf superhero sort of thing,
Yeah.
and
He's a
obviously
blind.
Daredevil's a blind series. So like there's some sort of camaraderie there. And so she's a Daredevil supporting character from like the early 2000s ish, maybe before that, but she's like relatively recent in the canon of comics.
So is she just like him? Like she just has enhanced senses and stuff?
No, she has Taskmaster powers.
Oh,
Where she can see a thing and
wait, the
perfectly
best villain?
Exactly. So
Such a great villain that they just copy her powers?
So she has like whatever you'd call that. What does he call it?
Mimicry?
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, we'll just call it that. Is that she can study you real well and copy you exactly. And so she beats up Daredevil because she like finds a bunch of videos of Daredevil or something and then like
he can't
do it.
and he classically can't see.
And then, but like I said though, obviously she comes around and he's like, no, Kingpin's the great. And then she like beats the shit out of Kingpin. I think she like retaliates then, and I think she blinds Kingpin for a time just for some like her assault leaves him blind, which is like some poetic justice as well. I guess there it's a little bit of
Yeah.
And then the only thing she's one of those characters where like I don't think she really is in much, right? Like this is the thing that can happen in comics sometimes is that characters just don't appear for a couple years because if they're just kind of out in the ether and there's no writer who feels the need to
put them in a
put them in a story, they just don't. Especially when you're a supporting character, right? Sometimes it happens with big characters, like before the MCU got kicked off kind of period, like 2004, 5, 6-ish. There was like 2 years where Thor never appeared in a comic. Because they killed him and they kept him dead for a couple years.
That's
like
sad.
they did Ragnarok and he was like, yeah, it's fine.
I like Thor comics.
No, I really like that run when he comes back. But it's just like they did that sometimes and still do. Like if no one has a use for you, you just where are you gonna go?
Yeah, then just might as well stay dead.
You know, whoever I want to say Brian Michael Bendis created her, but whoever created her liked her and wrote her and stuff. And then whoever the next guy who writes Daredevil is doesn't have a use for Echo. She's just gonna kind of vanish.
Fade off. Just do her own thing.
But I think it is Brian Michael Bendis because when Brian Michael Bendis went from Daredevil to, I don't know if he went directly, but eventually he was writing all the Avengers books.
Yeah.
She appears in that as, spoiler alert for this 16, 17-year-old comic book. When Ronin appears for the first time in the new Avengers, it's a mystery who it is, right?
So,
and I think even at the time, you were meant to kind of be like, is this Hawkeye? Because Hawkeye was dead at the time, and this is a character being ninja-like. Not that that's really Hawkeye's prerogative, but whatever. And it's not. It's her. And then later on, they do more. She comes up again, and after Hawkeye comes back, and then he like goes on missions and just borrows a costume because it's like sitting around. And then she's like, you could be Ronin. Have the Ronin costume. And that's how he gets it, essentially. So in some way, that's why I said in some ways it kind of makes sense for her to be in the Hawkeye show, and also not at all, because
she's a Daredevil character.
Her origin is not anywhere related to him. Her training, because she's like a ninja, right? Like Elektra and
Bullseye,
Daredevil, and them to the extent like she's connected to the hand in some way. I think
she got a handprint on her face, literally.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. It just doesn't really work. Oh, but I'm sure they'll do fine. But it's just like I don't see how that's gonna work. Personally, I don't really get it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know anything about Echo. It's just one of those characters like Ironheart, Miss Marvel that like I'll watch it, but I have no idea.
Explain almost on it.
No, I know.
Yeah,
so
that's
why
really
even
all
watch
you're
the
gonna
show?
Do. Exactly. But so I don't. It's gonna be. But also the thing about that is again, it just doesn't work in the MCU because she obviously will not be the one who gave him the Ronin costume
because
he's already been Ronin.
Let's say there's some.
He's already like
retroactive backstory.
Yeah, I don't know. It's because I think we've talked before.
Because Madam Hydra got that full body picture of him in the daylight so that Yelena could see him.
In our discussions about the Young Avengers, is like they've said it's going to be harder for them in this to introduce Kate Bishop than it was in the comics because it was literally just like she got to be Hawkeye because Hawkeye was dead at the time.
There was nobody to stop
and
her.
They didn't. Yeah, Hawkeye's not dead, so. And again, we've said before. I think we theorized like, well, maybe they could do the thing of like while he was being Ronin, she took up the mantle of Hawkeye while he wasn't using it. Essentially, like you could see something like that with some kind of flashback type stuff. And or again, I guess that could apply to Echo.
Or in the end, like he'll just stay Ronin and she'll be Hawkeye.
Maybe he's still Ronin. I mean, I don't know. There's never like a time where he's like, I'm Hawkeye again.
And he takes his little badge off from Hawkeye and puts Ronin on.
I don't know. So it's whatever. But yeah, this show's coming up. I don't know.
A lot of shows.
It's really just an excuse to mansplain Echo to you. I don't know why I felt the need to do that, but I was like, this will be fun.
Was it fun?
I enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy it later about Echo?
I don't enjoy anything in life these days.
It's also fun because she's like the Star Wars character.
Was she also tortured by the Bankers Guild?
That was the Techno Union.
Oh.
But no. Just the Kingpin. Her name
Ooh.
makes sense, though. Like I said, do you get it now? Did I explain her powers, though? That's why she's Echo? 'Cause
Yeah,
she can echo
she's
what
an
you
Echo.
do?
Because she just goes, Echo.
Echo, Echo.
She's a bat.
I don't know if you have any discussing this, but there was like a bit of classic internet controversy over this casting call because it specifically asked for 2 deaf actors.
They did the same thing for the Eternals. When the Eternals actress is deaf.
And people somehow got pissy about this because they were like, well, shouldn't it just be the best actor? Which, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that. I mean, it's not really, I don't know if it's even my place to say, but to me, I was like,
But we might as it's our show, so it is our place.
To me, I was like, this seems pretty inoffensive. Like, also,
honestly, it goes both ways for me. On the one hand, you're an actor, you're pretending to be someone you're not, and if you're just casting everyone that just fits the role, how much acting is it? But on the other hand, I mean, who cares?
This one is kind of different because it really is like a physical sort of thing, right? And I've heard that it's just, I was reading in sort of like comments and stuff about this and threads about this. It's like actual deaf and hard of hearing people say that
they can
hearing
tell.
Actors, yeah, they can tell. They don't really get it right. And so in that case, like, it sounds like if your character is trying to, if you have a deaf character, then yeah, the best person for the role probably is a deaf person.
Especially if they're the main character.
Yeah. I don't know. I gotta imagine that there's like some, depending on what kind of production it is, there could also be limitations to like, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I guess some episodes, but there probably is scenarios where it is harder to get the exact performance you want out of a deaf or hard of hearing actor if like your director and stuff aren't.
Yeah.
If they don't know sign language and stuff. And the thing probably applies to like blind people as well. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they can do each and every role. But, like, it seems pretty shitty to be like, well, they're not going to be able to do, like,
this one,
the normal, quote-unquote, whatever, right? Like, maybe you can't get a deaf actor to be fucking Captain America, because that's just not going to necessarily work. But, like, shit, if we can't even let the deaf actors be deaf characters, like, what the fuck?
What are we doing here, man? Why even have the character? Why even use them if we're not going to?
I don't know. It seems weird to be like, well, if you're deaf, you're probably not going to be able to get the normal leading man kind of roles, or woman. You're not going to get normal lead kind of roles, but then also, we're not even going to let you have the deaf characters. Like, they probably should, just, come on.
Yeah, throw them a bone on this one.
Again, like, I guess, yes, I kind of agree with what you said before. That is a thing I've thought before. Again, I think it definitely depends on the kind of role and the scenario you're talking, where sometimes I do feel the way of, like, well, if we're just going to try to match the character to the actor, then there's not as much acting involved.
Yeah.
Like, and also, I feel
yourself.
like sometimes you are kind of narrowing your thing of like, well, if this character is X, Y, or Z demographic, and we need to find an actor that fits that, you really are limiting your pool.
Yeah, to like the bare bones.
Yeah, but for this one, I think it's fine. I don't know, like people gotta be dicks.
Because they love being mad. They love just being mad about something.
I don't know, that's all it is. But yeah, so then Echo Show is coming out at some point, which I didn't even know about.
I knew about it.
Cool. Wish you'd have told me. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you call me up and say, Zach, you know that plethora of knowledge you carry around? No, not that useless knowledge. The other one. No, well, not that. Not the Star Wars.
You're left.
About early 2000s Marvel comics that you've read too many of. Don't you know about this Echo Show? And I'd have said, Jack, thank you for telling me. I did know.
No.
Do you want to hear about Echo?
And I go, no, and I hang up the phone. Yeah. But here's the reason, Zach. I hate you.
No, that's fair. Understandable. All right. And with that, let's close it up.
We're going to close up the episode now. Thanks so much for listening. As always, you can email us at Gmail, ecatechjazz. I almost forgot our whole fucking email. So our email is ecatechjazz@gmail.com. Our Twitter is ecatechjazz. That's Jaz. Jazz is 1Z. Follow us there. Our YouTube channel, the Ecatech with J and Z, has all the episodes that go up. I'll try to get them up within the same time they're posted audio. I mean, the video is just audio still, but if you like watching YouTube or whatever, it's up. It'll be up there within a couple days, within the same day or like 2 days within. Yeah, tell your friends. Email us if you like the show, what you like about it. If you don't like it, if it helped change your life, probably didn't though. And our logo, as always, was done by a friend of the show, Jeffrey Gonzalez. Again, as always, you can follow him at ingoshen.jpg and at Redbubble. And as always, we wrote it, we produced it, we built all the sets. Did you like it this time?
Yeah, it's fine. It's whatever.
Perfect.
There's no sets. I just think everyone should know, just for the sake of transparency, we didn't build any sets, and we are not reading a pre-written script.
If we were really,
That's all.
if we read a written script, we would
It'd be
sound a lot better. Our show
Mhm.
wouldn't be so fucking bad.
All right, and
All right.
good night on that.
Good night. Good night and Godspeed.